Good morning. My name is Rita Jack, and I am the pastor at Guidestone.Church online. I can't wait to be with you at 10 o'clock, and then afterwards we have a life class that will be meeting, and it will be on Zoom. We hope that you will be a part of that. If you're in your PJs, that's okay too. Come anyway. We would love to have you just to talk with us, and we'll have prayer and experience the victorious life found in Jesus Christ.
Well, good morning. Would you stand up with me today in just honor of the Lord and what He's doing in and through us? Let's give Him glory today. I give you glory. So come now, Lord, like never before. That's right. Welcome here to Guidestone.Church. My name is Kim Weisenberger, and I'm our worship pastor here, and we want to see God here working in this place. And so today we are giving him all glory and all honor, and we believe that he is going to be working here. So no matter what is going on in our life today, we know whatever battles that we are facing, we can come to him. There is going to be victory that is found in him. So today we are going to experience that victory.
Before
surround me with a song of deliverance from my enemies till all my fears are gone. And I'm no longer a slave to fear, 'cause I am a child of God. Thanks for calling us yours. Thank you, we can rest in you. You are here, moving in our midst. I worship you. You are here, walking in this place. I worship you.
You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. It may look like I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. This is how I fight my battles. 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 You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You are waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. I'm surrounded, but I'm surrounded by you. My God, that is who you
God, thank you that we can come to your feet today. Just be in your presence today. And God, just sing those words that you are those miracle worker. You are a way maker. God, you are one who keeps their promise every single day. God, we can see that with the sun rising and with it going down. God, you are faithful to us. God, so today we just rest in you. We put our trust in you today. God, any of those fears that we sang about, anything that's causing us to worry, God, we just lay them at your feet today. We release them to you, God. We just want to give them to you because we want those words to be true, that you are going to keep your promises. God, that you're going to make a way through. And God, today we just want to delight in who you are. Delight that you carry us. Delight that you part seas for us, God. God, we just delight in who you are, your goodness and your love for us. In your name, amen. You guys may be seated.
Hi, good morning and welcome to Guidestone.Church. My name is David.
But I'm Nick, and we have things for adults, for families, for kids, for teens. It's all there in the app.
That's right. Go check it out.
One way that you can continue to worship is through offering. Offering is giving back what God has blessed you with already. Two ways that you can give. You can either give online through the app, or you can give in the blue box in the back.
You are not meant to walk in your faith alone. One way of doing that is through our life groups. They're happening all week long, including right after service. You want to check out the app or check out the screen. It'll tell you all the times and locations. Come check us out. There's always plenty of room for one more.
Looking ahead into February, on February 14th, Valentine's Day, a day of love, but it is also Ash Wednesday. So what better way to celebrate God's love for us than an Ash Wednesday service? It'll be an all-family, all-inclusive night of worship as we prepare for our Lent season, leading up to the great celebration that Christ's resurrection represents. That will be on February 14th at 6:30. Remember, dust is where we came from, dust is where we return.
Why am I wearing all this winter stuff, you might ask? I'm glad you asked. Because February 23rd through 25th, we are doing our very first Guidestone Winter Retreat. Who's it for? Everybody. Come check it out. It's going to be February 23rd through 25th. It's going to be a great time that we can spend up in the mountains together as a whole church body, and we can have a lot of fun just being together, worshiping God in the mountains, and enjoying our time together. Hey, and again, we want to thank you for coming to Guidestone.Church. Remember, there's a lot of things that are going on here at Guidestone. Check out the App Store.
Guidestone.Church on whatever app platform you use for your devices. That'll give you all of the information for families, adults, everything that we've mentioned. Other things that haven't been mentioned yet.
All sorts of cool stuff. Check it out. And remember, at Guidestone.Church, we want you to
experience the victorious life found in Jesus Christ.
Lord, I was with Moses when he handed down these commandments. I was witness to the covenant, the promise of a holy nation. Help me to forge that nation, to lead your people, to inherit their land.
The Lord brought us out from Egypt, promised us this land. Soon, it will be ours.
March around the city once a day with all the armed men. Do this for 6 days. Carry the ark with you. It contains God's commandments. He is with you. Then, on the 7th day, march around the city 7 times. Then the priests should make a long blast with the ram's horn. As soon as you hear the sound of the trumpet, all the people shall shout a great shout.
Ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Now, I don't know how many of you guys are married to men or have had boyfriends or have been around men, the male gender in general. But have you noticed that they can come up with some of the most ridiculous plans? Have you seen this? I mean, there's this whole like meme thing going around. It's been out for a while. It just says why women live longer than men. Have you seen this? And it's because there's like a guy on a staircase that has a ladder set up from one side to the other over the hole where the stairs go down so he can paint the ceiling, things like that. Or I've heard stories about people in this church, men in this in this church where they didn't have an A-frame ladder, and so they needed to get really high up and to change some of the light bulbs. And so what they did is they just gathered 3 or 4 men with a straight ladder, an extension ladder, and just held the ladder while somebody climbed up it. Ridiculous. Are you with me? Ridiculous plans. Things like, I saw this video the other day where this guy, he was a mountain biker, and so he's there, and he decides, you know what? He's on this bike path, and he thinks to himself, I think I can ollie over. There's a 100-foot cliff down there, and he thinks he can get from one side to the other side. Now, if he misses, it's bye, Jim. You know, like bye. See, it's just he's done. But he thinks to himself, I should do this, and then he does. It's Evel Knievel. It's these things that I think to myself, where did this come from? But it doesn't take me very long to think of where they come from. It's just being a guy is ridiculous. We come up with the most ridiculous plans. Case in point. When my brother and I were young, we had this neighbor across the street it was 2 brothers. They were just a little bit older than we were. And as we encountered them, it was always the story of them, taking our stuff, making fun of us, things like that. You guys have been there, I'm sure. A little bit older, no personal security of who they are, and so they need to pick on smaller people. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? So they pick on us and pick on us and pick on us. Their names are Bobby and Jackie. And to this day, if you're named Bobby or Jackie, I just want you to know I have PTSD from my childhood. And when I hear those names, it sends I'm pretty sure that Satan's army has 2 soldiers, like his main people, Bobby and Jackie. That's what I'm pretty sure of. I'm pretty sure of that right now. They lived across the street from my house. And so they would come out and they would be like, fee, fi, fo. No, they didn't really do that. But they would come out and they would make fun of us, and we'd play tennis in the street because we lived on a cul-de-sac, or we'd play basketball. They'd come out and take our stuff all the time. Or they'd make fun of us, how small we were and insignificant we were and all those kinds of things. Bobby and Jackie needed to die. And so what we did was we developed a plan to kill Bobby and Jackie. This is what my brother and I did. And the plan was this. Beside our house, next to our house, it was a 2-story house. There's a big wall and a little gate that goes into our backyard. And we thought the perfect place to take care of business was right here on our property. I don't know. I mean, I guess they're going to come over there at some point and do something. So we decided right there. And in Oklahoma, I don't know if you guys have ever encountered red dirt. Have you encountered this? Do you guys know about red dirt? Red dirt is like, in the summer, it's dry. It's not even clay anymore. It's basically just cement, okay? And so we decided right there in the cement dirt that we were going to dig out a nice big ditch for them to fall in. Now it gets better. That wasn't good enough, okay? We decided it needed to be a tiger pit. And so we planned on putting a tiger in the pit. We planned it all out. We were going to put the tiger in the pit. We're going to dig it out. We're going to put these things over it to cover it, to make it look like there's no pit there. And so we're going to dig it out, and we're going to make this pit, and they're going to fall in, and then they're going to get eaten by the tiger. Now, that's really as far as we got as far as the tiger was concerned. We didn't really know where to get a tiger, but that was for later. We really needed to dig the pit first. So we got some shovels out of the garage, and we started digging this pit. We worked for days on this pit. Now, how my grandparents and my parents, we lived with my grandparents at the time, how they didn't know that we were digging this pit, I'll never know. Perhaps it's because even after days, we made it about 3 inches. 3 inches into this pit, and we're sitting there wiping our brows. You know, it's about maybe 3 feet by about 2 feet, 3 inches deep. And we thought at that point, that was probably good enough. So we went and we got some grass, which, by the way, the grass is dead in the summer because it's just scorching hot. It's like 105 degrees, and so all the grass is burnt up. And so we just go to the lawn, and we just pick up this grass, this brown, dead grass, this brown, dead Bermuda grass that hasn't been watered on the side, and we pick it up, and we sprinkle it over, and we look at it, and we go, that'll get him. That'll get him. We decided that we weren't going to go get the tiger at that point. We were too tired, and so, but we got the tiger pit, and we were going to put the tiger in it at some point. And when I heard this plan, and we started working it out, when I heard this plan, my initial thought was, this is going to work. This is going to work. This is going to work. When we got it done, and it was 3 inches deep and about 3 or 4 feet long and about 2 feet wide, my reaction at that point was, this is going to work. This is going to work. I mean, this is the greatest, most outrageous plan that has ever been formed in the history of man. This is going to work. We're going to catch Bobby and Jackie. They'll be gone forever. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. Do you know, it didn't work. I just need to put that out there. It didn't catch Bobby and Jackie. They're probably still alive today. I don't know where they're at this point, but you know, ridiculous plans, they aren't always that bad, especially when they come from God. Now Joshua, as we get into this, Joshua is a warrior. Okay, Joshua is a warrior. He knows exactly how to fight a battle. He understands what they need to do in order to win a battle. And so as they go into, you remember Joshua years ago, a generation back. He was called among a few different people, and he was called to go in and scout Jericho. So he does, and when he comes back, there's only 2 guys out of the group that say, you know what, we can take them. This is Joshua. The rest of them, they all say, they're big, they're scary, we can't go in there, we don't have any business going in there, and fear sort of grips them, but Joshua says, no, we need to go. We can do this. Joshua's a warrior. He's ready for battle. He sees the enemy, and he wants to go toward it. I think that's why Joshua's so different when he encounters the angel of the Lord's army. Did you guys notice that from last week? He's so different. You know, when other people encounter the angel of the Lord's army, or they count an angel, they're gripped with fear. Joshua sees the angel of the Lord's army with a sword, and he walks up to him. Are you with us? Or are you against us? That's Joshua. He's a little bit different than most of the people that encounter all of this angel of the Lord's army. And so Joshua, he believes in what God is doing, and he believes in himself. He thinks he is going to go and take over this place. Now, once he encounters the angel of the Lord's army, he submits. He knows God is God and he is not. He's following after God, so he bows before the angel of the Lord's army. But he knows a good battle plan when he hears one. I mean, a good battle plan probably looked more like pushing dirt up against the city walls so that they could climb higher, getting ladders to put on the sides so they can climb up, getting things that will shoot over the wall and into the city, maybe some things with fire so that they can burn the city down. Maybe, just maybe, Joshua knew a little bit about these things. Now, the city was closed up. They closed themselves off from the rest of the world. When Joshua went into Jericho, the city was closed up. There was no way in, there was no way out, there was nobody going in, there was nobody coming out. This was their defense, close themselves off. The city was built up on a hill so that they could see their enemies coming, and it would be harder for the enemy to get up. The attacking armies would do things that made sense in order to get in. Maybe take some big thing and clank it against the door. Have you seen that? It looked like a pretty good idea if you didn't have modern weaponry. We got to open the door somehow. So they try to reach the top. They try to get in and bash the doors open. They try these things. Now, one of the things that they would do in that time, and this wasn't just unique to Israel, this is kind of what armies would do. One of the things they would do is they would go in and they would circle the entire city. If a city closed its doors, they would go and circle the entire city to let the people inside that there is no way out. You're going to have to fight us. You're going to have to encounter us. We're coming, so we're going to encircle the whole city. These things made sense. They understood war, and they'd figured out how to make it work to their advantage so that they would win. And the thing is, Joshua knew. He knew. He knew what a good battle plan looked like. Last week we learned that Joshua met this commander of the Lord's army, and after Joshua submits to him, he asks him, what should we do? And the commander of the Lord's army comes up with something from Doug and Hardy's childhood, this Bobby and Jackie sort of ridiculous plan. We're going to catch him in a tiger pit. This is what he says. This is what the commander of the Lord's army says. Okay, you ready for this? Just get this. He had to have been a boy. I'm just saying. Now the gates of Jericho were securely barred because of the Israelites. No one went in, no one went out, and no one came in. Then the Lord said to Joshua, see, I have delivered Jericho into your hands along with its king and its fighting men. March around the city once with all the men. Do this for 6 days. Have 7 priests carry trumpets of ram's horns in front of the ark. And on the 7th day, march around the city 7 times with priests blowing the trumpets. And when you hear them sound a long blast on the trumpets, have the whole army give a loud shout. Then the wall of the city will collapse and the army will go up, everyone straight in. So, Joshua hears this. And it sounds like a lot. It really does. He might as well have said, we're going to catch him beside Nana and Pappy's house in a tiger pit. Even though we don't have a tiger and we can't really dig holes right there, but that's what we're going to do. And Josh was like, this is the best plan I have ever heard. He's just like me, like when my brother and I were talking. This is amazing. This is ridiculous. This is the best plan. Well, it's the second best plan because it didn't involve a tiger, but Joshua decides that this is incredible, and we've got to do this, and we're going to get more into his response next week. But let's just say he is pumped about this plan. Like, he is pumped. He is ready to go. And basically the plan is to send them into battle with music. That's what we're going to do. You can imagine the first trumpet. Get in there. The trumpet guy, yeah, you're going to go in there, and the trumpet guy says something like, don't they have weapons over there? He's like, yeah. But when you get up there, just play your trumpet. But they have things that can, like arrows and things like that, right? Oh yeah, you'll be fine though. Just play your trumpet. It was really a ram's horn. It wasn't a trumpet. It was, So he goes in and he starts playing music. Now, God's plan for the Israelites, it's not a great strategic war plan. There's nobody that is going, okay, this has worked before. Let's do it again. How many people have walked up to a wall and just yelled at the wall and it came tumbling down? How many of you guys have taken how many have even seen a ram's horn that you can play? Anybody? Have you seen? I've seen a couple. If you play a ram's horn, and I think it's actually been done in this room, when they play the ram's horn, it just plays the ram's horn. No walls have fallen down. I'm just saying, nothing like that has happened. Now, when I was a kid, right before the service started, my grandfather would walk out of the side area. Now, along with my grandfather were like 8, I want to say, other pastors, people that were on staff, retired ministers, and they would come up and they had chairs on the platform and they would sit down. Now, this was entertaining for a young man because there was all kinds of things. I mean, people that couldn't hear up here, so whenever they whispered to each other, the whole church could hear. We had a guy that had socks that literally were see-through. And so when I would sit over here and I would look up at the stage, I was constantly engaged because this was entertaining. The best thing was right here where my grandfather sat, there was a bat phone. You guys know about the bat phone? Yeah? Yeah, there was a phone, a Batman phone, a Batman-type phone, and my grandfather would pick it up and be able to talk to the people in the back there. That was amazing. You can imagine growing up without cell phones. People could talk to each other in the back without disrupting the whole service. And yet for me, it was like, that's all I could think about. I need a phone like that in my room. I don't know who I'm going to call or anything like that, but it needs to happen. So this whole group of people sitting on the platform, retired pastors, all of that. And right down front here was this communion table. It was a big communion table. It said, do this in remembrance of me. And on the communion table, right there in the front of the church, was this Bible that was open. It was right out in front so that people could see. The Bible was sitting out in front, displayed on the communion table with the pulpit behind it. And the music would start. And we would all sing in preparation to see what God was up to. And this is almost what we see in this plan. The priests go out first with the Ark of the Covenant. They blow the ram's horns. The ark is at the center. The armed guards before and behind, encircling the town. A perfect number of 7 repeated again and again. It's heavy with symbolism and ritual. It's more like an act of worship than a battle plan. So God's plan to fight this battle is to worship Him. That's the plan. So sometimes when we face battles in our lives, we focus so much on the challenge in front of us instead of the one who has already won the battle. So even before we've gone to battle, we worship God as if the battle is already won. In verse 2, we see why. It says this, God says, I have delivered Jericho into your hands. Now, what he doesn't say is, I will deliver Jericho into your hands. He doesn't say, I am delivering Jericho into your hands. He says this, I have delivered Jericho into your hands. It's a past tense of a future event. Are you with me this morning? It's done already, even though it hasn't even happened yet. It's in time. I mean, when we're here, we're looking at it, we still have to go through some things, but that doesn't mean that the outcome isn't set. And this is a concept that we have to get as Christians. Sometimes we talk a big game about the end of the world, but when the battle comes knocking at our front door, we seem to forget that the battle is already won. So that thing that you're facing with that person, or that thing that you're facing with those finances, or the thing that you're facing with that job situation, the thing that you're facing, that battle that's coming knocking at your front door, the end is already set. And this is why we can know the end of the story. It's not because we're so powerful. We're so powerful that someday Christians are just going to overtake. You know, the early Christian, or the people in the New Testament, the people in the New Testament, they were expecting Jesus to come. All those people, they were expecting a Messiah to come. And what they were expecting is, instead of Rome being over Israel, what they thought was going to happen is Israel was going to be set on top of Rome. That it was going to reverse the whole situation. But Jesus didn't do that. Sometimes when we feel that we're down here and something else is up here, we feel like the only fair thing to do is just to reverse it so that they're down here and we're up here. But that's not what Jesus says. That's not what God calls us to. He says the mountains will be made low and the valleys will be raised up. There's an equality of value to every single human in the world. We're not so powerful that we know that something is going to change, that if the enemy comes after us, we're just going to be able to overwhelm him. That's not what's happening here. And it's not because we're so weak that someday we're just bound to lose. I hear people say this, and my mom and I talked about this week a little bit. She said she was writing something on Facebook, as she does. She says something like, "This person laughed at me." And I said, "Why, Mom?" She goes, "Well, you see, they had an issue." And I said, "Well, we just need to stop and pray." And they said, "Prayer? Prayer doesn't do anything unless you do something. Prayer doesn't do anything. You might as well send good thoughts." What does that do for anybody? Oh, prayer is a little bit different, friend. Prayer is calling on the name of God. Prayer is a connection point to God. It doesn't mean that God won't call you to something if you pray, because there's a good chance he will. If you pray, he might say, "Grab a ram's horn. We're going to go knock down a wall." And you'll be like, "What? That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous." But that's what he did here. We know the end, not because we're so strong, not because we're so weak. It's because God says it's already so. This is the telltale sign of a ridiculous plan of God. When they step into this world of God kinds of plans, they look at it and they go, "This can't work," but it's God. This is why there's 7 involved. The number 7 has a few things associated with it through Scripture, but one glaring one would be this, that it's connected to perfection. It's connected to deity. It's connected to God. It's often associated with that. And this wasn't just true of the Israelites, but the known world. Even the ancient Amorites had a multi-day ritual that represented the entry of a deity into a city or town. But God says, "This is my plan." And it's an announcement more than it is a plan. He says, "I have already given it to you." This is what God is saying. This city is my city. 7 days, 7 times around, God has come to this city, and it's already his. We don't have to wait for it to be his. He already owns it. So what does this mean when God asks you to do something? It means this: he goes before you, and he comes behind you. And when we step into a situation and he's called you to it, he's already been at work. He's already been there. You're not going there to start something. You're going there to participate in something. God knew that Jericho was won because God's already won. He's the creator of all things. So when he tells us of his ridiculous plans, it's to show us that he is at work. It's to give us an opportunity to respond in faith and love. He could have said, go in and fight. He could have said, everyone huff and puff and blow the walls down. He could have said anything. But he asked them to worship him, to acknowledge that this is his plan, that it's his city, that it's his victory. So when God asks you to do something ridiculous, trust that the victory is already his. Now, I want to talk about Jericho for a second. The city is closed off. They close the city off. They make sure that nobody can go in and nobody can come out. And the announcement of God's presence through God's chosen people in the world came upon a city that was closed up. The closed up city knew that Joshua and the Israelites were coming. They knew this, but instead of opening the doors to the ways of Joshua and the authority that was given him by God, they, in a way, were rejecting God. Think about this. The Israelites marched around the city once a day for 6 straight days. And then they went back to their camp. It's crazy. Why would they do that? Why would they let them out? Why would they give them reprieve? Why would they go back to their camp? I mean, it's just because God said so. They march around the city for 6 days and then they just leave them alone for a minute. Almost like you have a choice in this. You got a choice in this. I mean, this is not a great strategy for a military group. The people of Jericho could just leave. They could go get supplies. They could grab food, make plans for the next day, whatever they needed to do. But really, in God's ridiculous plan, they had the opportunity to surrender. They didn't have to lose a single person. The Bible says that they shut the doors of the city because they were in great fear. But on the 7th day, the walls shuddered, they crumbled to the ground, and here's the thing, they didn't have to. If they would have just surrendered, if they would have just surrendered to the way of God, and here's where this story gets really personal. So many of us, we close ourselves off to God's way. We close ourselves off to God's ridiculous plans. We close ourselves off to God's love. But if we would just surrender and we just open the doors, we would experience his love. Guys, it's not the love of the church. I mean, that's great when we get it right. It stinks when we get it wrong, doesn't it? I mean, when we get it wrong, it stinks because it doesn't just impact us in here. It's like people see that and then they say, well, those people carry the name Christian, and so if that's what they do and that's how they act, then maybe that's what God is like. Sometimes we mistake people and what they do for who God is. And if you've been hurt by the church, you've been hurt by a person in the church, I've hurt people in this very building. We've had to apologize. We've had to come to an agreement that we're going to forgive one another. It happens. It's got to happen in the world too, but God didn't do that. God didn't plan that. God doesn't want to make that happen. People have choices. But when we surrender to God's plan, when we surrender, and almost always when we have the kind of conflict that leads to that, almost always somebody has chosen their own way rather than God's way. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes we just choose our own way instead of going God's way. Maybe our ego gets hurt, or maybe we get scared about something and then we do something or we're just miss the mark sometimes, you know. And then all of a sudden, we're misrepresenting God. But if we just surrender to his way, if we would open the doors, then we get to be a part of what he's doing in the world. We'd experience his kind of love, the kind of love that moves people to forgive when they're the ones that have been hurt, the kind of love that moves this world in a way from darkness to light, the kind of love that moves people from death to life. But when we don't, when we close ourselves off, when we live in fear of what God might want us to do or give or where he might want us to go or what he might want us to give up, here's the thing. We end up putting our trust in walls that are temporary. And they're going to crumble. They're going to crumble at some point. So here's the question for you today. God is circling your heart. And when we don't let him in, we begin to crumble. And the question for you is, will you let him in? Will you let him in before you crumble? God is the giver of life, not the tearer down of things. Will you receive the plans that God has for you without questioning his methods? Would you let him speak a ridiculous plan into your life? Something that doesn't make sense so you'll see that it's him at work? I'm sorry, it doesn't make sense. I'm sorry, it doesn't line up with your logic. But God wants to show you something ridiculous. So maybe the plan today is just to say yes, to bow before him and to worship the God who created everything, who comes right to you and says, you are my holy, chosen people, and I want to do ridiculous things through you. Would you stand with me? Let's just bow our heads for just a second as we allow God to move us, as we allow God to say, I'm standing at the door of your heart. Would you open up for me? I love you. I have great plans for you. Plans to give you a hope and a future, not plans to hurt you. They're plans for you to thrive. For you to live. Maybe God is saying to you today, maybe he's saying to you today, just open your heart. He's giving you another chance. He's been circling your heart for a long time. He's claimed it. He said, you're mine. Maybe today he's just saying, would you open up? Before it's too late, would you just open up? Before everything crumbles, would you just open up? Maybe you're like Joshua. And God's calling you to a ridiculous plan. And if he is, then there's a good chance it's going to start with worship. listen. Give God the chance to speak into your life. Would you open the heart? Let him in. Would you trust him and trust his good plan that doesn't make sense? Would you give this moment to him? Heavenly Father, what would you want us to do? What would you have us to do? Where would you have us go? Who would you have us speak to? God, where would you take us? Whatever it is, God, today we are willing. Today we say yes to your ridiculous plans. Today we say yes to opening our hearts to you. So come and take over these little cities we call our lives. Come and take over what is going to happen. Open us up, God, to what you would have for us. We surrender here today to your will, to your way. We come to worship you, God, because you are the one true God, the only place where salvation can come from, through your Son, Jesus Christ, God. So today we surrender to your will. We surrender to your plan. Come and do ridiculous things among us. We love you. In your name, amen.
I know you have saved
was reminded of a conversation I had with one of my boys about courage. And I heard somewhere a long time ago that really all you need is 10 seconds of outrageous courage. That's all you really need. It's 10 seconds of ridiculous courage in the conversation in your head right before. Right before you take the step. Right before you open your mouth. Right before you jump. 10 seconds of outrageous courage. I wonder where you need that today. I wonder where the battle is at for you, that you're standing looking at an entire city with a massive wall. The conversation that you are having with yourself and maybe probably with God. This doesn't make sense. It's not going to work. I'll never get out. I'll never overcome. I'll never measure up. I'll never be good enough. I'll never kick this. I won't make it. Would you muster 10 seconds of ridiculous courage today, this week? We would love to spend time in dialogue with you about that, about life. We're better when we're in this thing together and not carrying these burdens alone. We do a thing here that gives opportunity and space for those conversations called life groups. And we go right from here into small group conversations. You are invited into those. Maybe you need to talk yourself into that. And you need 10 seconds of ridiculous courage to find the class, to ask about it. No pressure to be a part. We'd love to connect with you further. Let me pray a prayer over you, and then we'll walk out of here taking with us what it is the Lord has for us. Father, thanks for being so good and gracious. As a father, I know how difficult it is for me to patiently wait for my boys to work through their issues. I can't imagine how you do it so graciously with us. And yet I'm thankful that you are not like me, but yet you're calling me to be like you. Would you give us 10 seconds of ridiculous courage today, this week, to take the step, to make the call, to say the words, to follow through. Thank you for being with us, for being already where we are going. We look to you, Father. Bless these people as we go today. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.